We're going to welcome up Dr. Sacoby Wilson, the founder and executive director of the Center for Engagement, Environmental Justice, and Health INpowering Communities. He's been honored with multiple awards, recently the Heinz Award, but also the 2022 Sierra Club Robert Bullard Environmental Justice Award. He is recognized for his leadership in environmental advocacy. So please give a warm welcome to Dr. Sacoby Wilson.
Okay. How y'all been enjoying the summit so far? Let's give a round of applause to the organizers. Woo, Cardi! So it's my job, I'm a transitional speaker, right? It's my job to help get y'all hyped, right? You think about the session you just had, talking about resilience, community and action. What should we be doing in this moment? So one of the things I always like to do is kind of ground us in history and talking about, where we've been at before. Like, we've been in a situation in this country where we've had a president who may not have been the president we wanted. For some of you, he may be the president you wanted, but you got more than you paid for. We've had a president in the past, like Woodrow Wilson. Y'all remember the history. He was a very racist president, right? Some very anti-progressive policies. So what do we need to be doing in this moment? How can we be resilient? The thing about resilience is about bouncing back. How can we collectively bounce back? I want to give y'all a Ghanaian term, Sankofa. Some of y'all may know the term. You know Sankofa? Raise your hand. Clap for Sankofa. So let's talk about Sankofa. What does it mean? So looking backwards and bringing it forward, right? What worked then, let's bring it forward. What worked for us in the past when we've gone through trials and tribulations as a country? What worked well in the past when we had to bounce back from a forest fire, when we had to bounce back from a hurricane, when we had to bounce back from heat? We know heat waves are hell for the poor and the elderly. What did you do? What did you do? What did we do, right? When you think about the floods that people are experiencing, when you think about the burdens of environmental injustice, burdens of environmental racism, the burdens of environmental oppression, what have people done to not just survive but thrive? That's a shout out to my brother Mustafa Ali. That's his quote. What have people done? What can you do in this moment? We have to move forward. One of the things that we talked about in my symposium we just had September 10th to 13th, one of the things that came out, how do we move forward better together? I think that's the point, everybody. That's the point. We have to make sure we are part of a social movement. You cannot be isolated in this moment. You cannot be separated in this moment. A movement is a movement of people. The environmental justice movement is a movement of people. The climate justice movement is a movement of people. If we're going to do this work, we have to build forward together. So we need everybody in this room, whether you be an advocate, you're an activist, you're from a frontline, fence line community, if you're in an agency like MDE, DNR, if you're from the federal government, shout out to all my federal family out there who's going through it right now with the shutdown. We need everybody connected together. Now, another point I want to make, when you think about Sankofa, what worked then, let's use it now. We have to get back to self-sufficiency. So what do I mean by that? We have to make sure that our organizations are durable, right? So regardless of which way the wind blows, I'm talking about the federal government right now, if it's in your face or in your back, to your back, you're good either way. How can we build durable infrastructure that can be sustained? So as we're fighting for climate justice, as we're advocating for climate policies, as we're making sure that we're implementing, I'm not sure it's been implemented well right now, but y'all can push back on this point about to make, the Climate Solutions Now Act. It was said it was the most progressive act at the state level in the country to advance climate change policy, but how much advancement have we made in the last 2-3 years? I don't hear much from the audience. This is call and response. So what can we do, right, together to make sure that gets enacted properly so we can make sure the rhetoric actually becomes action? How can we move from a lot of rhetoric around climate change and climate policy and move it to real action? How can we move away from the rhetoric around progressive policies in our state and move it to real action? How can we make sure we're reducing greenhouse gases, right? But also those co-pollutants that we know lead to excess asthma morbidity, right? That are leading to other adverse respiratory impacts for frontline fence-line communities. How can we make sure that we are pushing for policies like the Climate Solution Now Act, like many of the things that y'all are fighting for in this room, that we see real change in the state of Maryland, that we see real change in Baltimore, we see real change for folks in East Baltimore, we see real change for folks in West Baltimore, we see real change for folks who are living in Curtis Bay, right? Real change for people living in Turner Station. We want to see real change for folks who are impacted by these climate hazards. We have to do that together. Now, another point when we think about self-sufficiency, and again, Carl Reed, make sure, you said only had 10 minutes, but you know how I get, excited. And the pastor in me comes out. You don't have to cut me off. But we have to also think about, in this moment, and y'all have heard me say this in previous lectures or keynotes and comments, we have to have good offense, y'all, and good defense. I'm in Baltimore, so I'm gonna be bad. My team won yesterday. Not the Ravens, the Steelers, y'all. Defense came through yesterday. 6 turnovers, okay? And then this is metaphor, allegory, whichever the right term is, okay? We gotta have good, that was great defense. How can we have great defense in this moment? We've had bad defense, y'all. Think about the Voting Rights Act, erosion. Civil Rights Act, erosion. We're going backwards on some things, right? Because we've had bad defense. How can we have better defense in this moment to make sure, again, the progress we made in the state of Maryland when it comes to Climate Solution Now Act, when it comes to the recently signed VOICE, right, the Executive Order on Environmental Justice, when it comes to the state climate action plan, when you get back down to the city level, Ava Richardson, is Ava in the room? Office of Sustainability. How are we implementing climate change policies in Baltimore City? How can we have good defense on that? And my last point is, we gotta have great offense too. What's your vision for Baltimore when it comes to climate change, climate justice? What's our vision for the state of Maryland, right? We have to have a positive vision, y'all. We have to have a vision that's filled with hope, love, a love of community, and a love of family. Again, we can fight for environmental justice. We can fight for climate justice by what? Focus on building forward better together. Say it with me, y'all. Building forward better together. Building forward better together. One last time. Building forward better together. Y'all messed me up, but thank you. I'm gonna pass the mic. My time is up. Building forward better together. That's the thing.